Okay, we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another session of Open Source Mentorship. Just like every other session, this session we are going to talk about a lot of solutions, how young people can use technology for good. But this one is quite a special session because today we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This happens when I forget to mute myself on YouTube while I'm doing a live stream. Sorry for that. As I was saying, today's session is very special because we have some very special guests all the way from Turkey. And these young people, I had the privilege of working with them in July this year in Istanbul. We had a good 7-8 days of Tech for Good retreat. And we talked a lot about the solution that they were working on and they wanted to do. We have two representatives from that group, the group or the product or the startup, as I should say, I think, is called DyStory. And let me just welcome them. Hi, Elif. Hi, Zainab. How are you guys? I know it's very early for you over there, and you know the weather is becoming colder. It's not easy to get up. Thank you so much for making the time today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Nanda.
Thank you
It's a
for having
pleasure
us
to
here.
be.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm Zeynep. I study computer engineering at Koç University, and I met you and my friends at Istanbul at a Huawei Seeds for the Future camp. We met, we were a group, and we had some presentations, some project idea. We developed it and won the cohort of the first part.
And I'm Elif. I study software development, and I'm also a second grader. I mean, I also met all of you guys the same way. Zeynep pretty much explained it. That's about it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you, Zainab and Elif, for joining us today. And before we begin with DyStory, because it's such an amazing topic to discuss and such an important one as well, let me just share with everyone who's watching why we created this particular live stream this week. Well, 11th of November is the National Education Day in India. It is named after our first education minister, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. And that coincided with my ongoing work with DyStory. So things just came together, and what a special way to actually celebrate the National Education Day by talking about something which usually does not catch the attention of educators or policymakers when we talk about education. We're going to talk about neurodiversity. We're going to talk about the autism spectrum, and we're going to talk about how education is essentially different when it comes to neurodiverse students and learners. So let's start with Elif. Elif, what do you think about this entire, phenomena of education of people going or in the autism spectrum?
Honestly, I think like people with neurodiversity have a lot of potential that often goes unseen because their behavior is, considered unusual, out of the line, and more so instead of, actually people and education institutions taking their time to possibly unleash what these students can do, they find it a lot easier to mark them as incompetent or just unsuccessful, lazy, etc. And I think it really, decreases what they get to do in their futures as well, because if they were just told as children that they could do so much, they would probably, actually go wide, go big, make it places, And I think that's a big problem.
Absolutely. And Zainab, what do you think?
Yeah, Elif says it all like it's the easy way out of the formal education, because in formal education everyone has the same education, same lessons, same classes, same just everything is just same for everyone, and not everybody is the same. Everyone learns different, and some people just learns harder. I think the life is harder for them when they start school. And when we were talking to parents, they were absolutely influenced by how their kids were going through this, and the other kids don't.
That is so true. So let's get into it. Let's get into this fact that why we are not able to accommodate neurodiverse students and learners in our mainstream education. What are some of the challenges? And in order to do that, let me just quickly share my iPad screen.
Okay.
Yes, sometimes it takes a bit of
It's okay.
That's fine.
bear with me for a second. Oh, yes, here we go. Excellent. So, guys, in your research for DyStory, what have you come across as to what are, first of all, let's understand a little bit about what neurodiversity is. How do you define it? I mean, I'm sure you guys have, experienced it yourself by talking to so many stakeholders, teachers, and parents, and so on. How would you describe neurodiversity in your words?
That's a good question. I'd have to think about that a little.
That's okay. Just whatever comes to your mind.
Neurodiversity cannot be labeled because everyone faces it differently. Like some people have ADHD, some people have dyslexia, some go through autism, and they all have different features. Like some, even the same disorder, people experience it differently. So we cannot label it, so define it in some limitations.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So neurodiversity, yeah.
Sorry. I think neurodiversity is just like the natural uniqueness of humans. Like, I don't think there's a need to define it, because we all accept that humans are different all around the world, eye color, hair color, skin color, or just height, weight, whatever. Neurodiversity is just part of that.
That is so true, actually. So it's essentially just another unique human being experiencing life in a unique way, right?
Yep.
Excellent. However, what we have done so far in our education systems, unfortunately, is we have called them learning disabilities. Why do you think we call it a disability if it is something which is quite natural?
Well, I guess it's because, like, compared to their quote unquote normal counterparts, people with learning disabilities are slower or require more effort, and people just consider that to be a disability.
What do you think, Zainab?
Sometimes when something is rare, people are likely to call it as like illness or disability or disorder. And for neurodiversity or any other thing that is not common as like the average people would have, it's always thought as some disorder, not something. It's diverse, something, it's a good thing. It can have some different benefits. People can use it for good, but people think it's a disorder.
I mean, it's in the word itself, disability and disorder. It's a very, I guess, dehumanizing label, I'd say.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So these are usually labels given to people who do not fit in our mainstream education systems. Yeah. Do you think that's a good definition for this name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do not fit in our mainstream education systems. And because they do not fit in, And this is what we human beings, unfortunately, are wired to do. If something doesn't fit in our limited perspective, then we are not sure about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, we should change our education systems.
Yeah, sure. Like when I think about they do not fit in our mainstream education systems, it feels like it's not because they do not fit in. The education system does not include them.
Absolutely. Fantastic way of saying that, actually. So education systems are incapable of catering to neurodiverse people. Now, I'm sure this conversation is going slightly different from what you had expected, right? But what we're trying to solve over here is we're trying to understand why you reached DyStory and why that is a solution that we're consulting, right? Now, when we talk about an education system, it's a very systemic thing that we're talking about. Now, let's talk about the fact that what are the different parts of the education systems which you think are not good enough yet to cater to neurodiverse populations? What are the things which are missing or lacking in our current education systems? Let's just list them one by one.
I think before all, since a lot of children with dyslexia and other learning disabilities go to the same schools as quote unquote regular children with mainstream education, I think social acceptance comes before all of them. Like their peers are not aware enough about their problems, and that most of the time ends up in bullying, which makes it a lot harder for the child to have the motivation to actually, learn and, grow.
That is such a valid point. So that leads to a lot of bullying.
Yeah,
Sometimes
we have heard that from some parents. Sorry, Zainab, go ahead.
sometimes the kid always does not know that they are different from others. They think that they are wrong, they are created wrong. And they also have to accept the fact that it's not something wrong, it's completely okay.
Yeah.
And like the self-confidence goes lower when they think about it. And they also do not get in some activities with their friends. And they just like go apart from their friends and peers.
Absolutely right. Let me just put this down quickly. I'm not fast enough. Just give me a second. So when you say that they're not able to participate, or sorry, are they not allowed to participate in regular activities, or they are not able to participate? How should we put this across?
Sometimes they just put their self away from the activities because they don't want to be with them.
To escape judgment?
Yeah, like a lot of the parents we talk, they said that my kid is struggling with making friends, having friends.
Yeah. Okay. What else, guys? What else do you think, this is the behavior that they have to face, and that challenges their own, image of themselves, and then it also, it brings down a lot of their confidence. What else happens, which you think is relevant for most people to be aware of?
The formal education gives the sources the same, like all the textbooks are the same, and sometimes they cannot even read it.
Okay, so
The formal education system just assumes everyone learns at the same speed. And because these children need more effort from their teachers and from themselves, and they need more time, when the class, moves on with the subject, they're still not comprehended fully the previous one. And I guess that it's something that, caused them to feel incompetent and, just feel bad with themselves in general.
okay, speed of
And
learning.
they're tested the same way. The exams are the same for everyone, and which is not fair at all.
Yeah. Not catering.
I think in recent years in Canada and in the US, some teachers make the exams different for the children with neurodiversity, which is a good thing, and we need to appreciate it more.
Excellent.
Actually, there's a special education school I know of in my city, and they also do the same thing. They have different exams for children who, are special education.
Yeah, but it's a different school. Like I said, in America and Canada, they do it in the same public school.
Oh, mainstream schools. That's
Yeah,
great.
in mainstreams.
Okay, some US and Canadian schools are doing this, right? Okay.
Even in the university, they just prepare different exams for people with dyslexia, for example.
All right. Schools and universities. Okay. So some solutions are existing. So we've discussed that there are a lot of challenges around this. There is a big social acceptance problem mostly because people are not aware of this, right? And under social acceptance, there are so many different things. Then there are education systems which do not cater to their specific needs. There are some educators, schools, and universities which are trying to do some things around it, right? So this seems like there are a lot of problems, or a lot of challenges around this entire, I would say, problem statement, which need to be solved. And this is where we bring DyStory into the picture. So before we put it down on the notes, would you guys like to talk about DyStory? Would you like to share something with whoever is watching right now?
Sure, yeah, of course.
Excellent. So, yeah, go ahead.
So let me share the slides.
Sorry, I just kicked over my bucket.
Yeah, here it is.
Well, I mean, we already mentioned its name a lot of times. This is DyStory. We are DyStory. And then if you can get to the next slide.
Okay. Oh, I'm having a problem, I think. Yeah.
So we already talked about the problem a little bit, but dyslexia is a very serious issue for children's academic and social lives. And we're focusing on this problem because learning disorders like dyslexia very, very negatively affect children's lives. The formal education system is not qualified and inclusive enough for them. And that's ironic because dyslexia affects about 15% of the global population, which is not a number to be shying at. The formal education system causes students to, have low self-esteem, and most of the time they can't access special education because it's too expensive or just completely out of reach. It's nearly non-existent, and even if it does, they have very limited quota to let children in. And dyslexic children are excluded and labeled as unsuccessful, incompetent, etc. in the formal educational system.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked to a lot of people, experts, parents of dyslexic children, and we've gotten a lot of feedback from them. And
it was inspiring, like hearing people thoughts about this app, and like we didn't even talk about our future, like we're gonna put this app this time, and they asked when the app is gonna be at markets, when we're going to download it. It was inspiring and motivating us.
Yeah, we received widely positive feedback, and we were honestly so touched by that, because they were, thanking us. They said they wanted to volunteer for testing, and like Zainab said, they wanted to know when they could download it. It overall made us very happy to see them happy as well. But like the general idea we got, especially from parents, was that they were so glad to be recognized. And
Wow.
the fact that they it's not a usual thing for them, I think, is just the biggest problem of this whole thing, right?
This
Uh,
is fascinating. I'm so sorry to, I just had a quick question. Can you tell us, some of these parents, were they ready when they discovered that their child is dyslexic or has learning disabilities? And if they were not ready, how did they react? How did they educate themselves? Like, what was their journey? Can you share some of that? Like, what is a parent's journey in this?
well, they mentioned, with most of the symptoms, like being, mistaking letters and such, some of them were already, figuring that something wasn't quite right, quite adding up. And others were, found shocked, but it was mostly thanks to the people who diagnosed them that parents were able to educate themselves and, not just label their children the same way their school already does, which is very heavy on the child as it is. So
And I
yeah, go
want to
ahead.
add something. Two of the people we have talked, they mentioned their dyslexia too, like their child, so they knew what was coming.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
think sharing it
some
with the child is an important part too.
okay. Did the parents also go through learning disabilities in their childhood?
Some
Like
of
these
them
parents,
were.
yeah, some of them.
Yeah, and one of the persons we have talked to was a computer engineering, and like when I listened to her, it was inspiring for me to like she has gone through some very hard things for her, and for their child, it's hard to like they both get out of it easily, not easily, but they just educate themselves and learn better and have their selves good.
Yeah. And how did they educate themselves? Apart
Like
from the people who diagnose
a
learning
lot of
disabilities.
people read books about it. There are a lot of books about dyslexia. And most
Okay.
of them get in the social media chat groups and be recognized by each other, listening to other people's advices.
Yeah, there are a lot of family support groups like on Facebook and such, like groups like Dyslexia Moms, etc. And I think that's important for them because, the neurodivergent experience is in one where you should be told you're not alone, right?
Absolutely. Wow, this is fascinating. How much of this you knew before you started making the app?
Very minorly, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we knew the problem existed, but personally, I didn't know it was something that affected people this much.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I thought people were kind of reaching the education they want to have, but most of them were not. They were not satisfied with what they have.
Yeah. As engineers, as creators, as tinkerers, um, did you guys ever think that actually talking to the end consumer would be so enlightening and so important towards making your solution?
I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, sure. Same with it.
Excellent. This is exactly why if you're watching this and if you're a young person who wants to change things, you have to talk to somebody who's going through the problem, guys. Excellent, guys. Please move on.
Okay. Do you want to add something to this page? Or?
No, you can see it.
Okay.
And here comes the solution. There are many types of dyslexia that present different struggles with learning. So we try to have multiple functions to satisfy, as much of these needs as we can. And we're focusing on providing a learning environment that follows individuals' own paces, which we think is one of the most important things in this case. And we contain vocal, visual, and verbal interactions, similarly to how a specialist would be teaching these students. And that way we're supporting their self-study processes and build their confidences. And even though we recognize special education cannot be done only on screen, the benefit is unignorable and also approved by many of the experts we have talked to. And some of our features are, listed here. We provide text-to-speech, so, children can hear and read at the same time, so they can associate the letters with the sounds. And we're trying to, have the text, font, UI, etc., to suit them, because this is something for them. So, they're the focus. We're doing everything we can as engineers that would make their life easier with this. And we have a lot of future plans as well. Sorry, Zainab, you were saying?
We have also thought about the parents, like their experience from the app. They can control what their kid does, how they improve themselves, how they go through it, and how much time they just wasted, not wasted, but spent on the screen, this app.
Yeah, an example to that actually, in very recent part of our development, we talked to a few more parents, and we had some parents who asked us to implement a screen time thing, because their child was consuming content very quickly, and especially if they liked since this is kind of a game, especially if they liked the game, they would be on it for hours, which, as great as it is that they want to learn, that's not exactly the approach we're trying to go for. Anyways, we also have a lot of future plans to improve our functions further, and implementing even more sensory interactions.
Yeah, we're open to new feedbacks for our future plans. Anything we could implement, we can add.
Excellent. This sounds amazing. So it's a mobile app which is going to help parents and children to learn better things that are usually not possible in their mainstream education, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
We're also very active on social media, not only to promote the app, but also keep spreading awareness about dyslexia, because we have a lot of posts about that as well. We post about, the insights of experts we've spoken to, so on and so forth.
Wow, amazing. I see myself over there. Oh, nice.
Yeah, we posted about that meeting as well.
Thank you. This is amazing. Yeah.
In October, it was Dyslexia Awareness Month, so we were sharing some awareness posts.
Oh, wow. Well, then this session becomes even more special, because October was Dyslexia Awareness Month. And I would love to know from you some of the things that have been done around the world around Dyslexia Awareness Month, apart from you sharing so much information. Any other idea what other people are doing?
Well, we found out because dyslexia foundations all over the world were posting about it. And if I remember correctly, red is the color for dyslexia. So I did see a bunch of pictures with these members of these dyslexia associations wearing red for awareness.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is amazing. I didn't know this. So thank you so much for that. All right. And how has the feedback been on your social media content?
Well, I mean, it's been quite positive, the same way it's been with experts and parents.
Yeah, but we do not have many followers yet.
Oh,
I mean, we're just starting, the app isn't even out in the market yet.
that's okay. That's okay. That virality, it doesn't guarantee quality. So don't worry about the followers. I had a question though, since you're so active on social media now. Um, has it helped you to, or first of all, do you post content only in the English language or also in Turkish or any other language?
We post in English only.
Okay, all right. And do you think, um, uh, posting such content more in other regional languages around the world would help? Because I'm sure if 15% is the number that we're going ahead with, that means that's quite a huge population, right? And not everyone might be comfortable with just one language, right?
Yeah, like take parents for example. We can't always guarantee that they are, bilingual for Turkish parents we've spoken to, especially. And I mean, I do think it reaches to a greater audience if we did post in multiple languages. But since we're only in the beginning of the project still, and English is such a universal language, that's what we chose to stick with.
And the app is for English learners, so that's why we post in
For now,
English.
at least.
Yeah. And that's why you need funding so that you can make the app, make the content in multiple languages across the world.
Yep.
Sounds good. If you're an investor, you know now why they need funding. Go ahead, guys.
Okay. And we have a lot of, future plans. We're quite ambitious. And so we made this chart where we essentially expect to start to sell subscriptions like, mid 2024. And then actually, branch out with schools to, for B2B activities. So we could, help schools start implementing DyStory in their special education systems as well for children with dyslexia. And, a few of the places we want to talk to are in here, like AO Cool, for example. That's the online portal for all students in Turkey. And I mean, continuing improvements is always part of an app development process. So, there's always going to be that one update that, has what's new, bug fixes. So yeah, we're quite an ambitious group.
Excellent. And Zainab, so all these activities that I can see on the screen on the left hand side, which is from Q1 to Q1 24 to Q3 25, you have separate team members, or are you guys doing everything right now?
Like, what do you mean by separate team members from the Huawei camp, or just?
No, somebody who's looking at the R&D activities for the new feature, somebody who's looking at organizing seminars. Yeah.
We have parts of the team. I look into R&D parts. Elif looks at the UI parts.
Yep.
And Arda is the developer, mobile app developer part. And Özgür is working on product development processes. And Sinem develops the website.
Adam looks at our finances.
Yeah.
Zeynep and I also together manage the social media.
Awesome. That's amazing. And what has the response been with some of the schools or organizations that you have talked to? We've talked about, how parents are extremely enthusiastic about your solution. What has the reaction been if you have talked to some special needs school and so on?
Well, they invited, a few schools at least have invited us to, talk about our project more in detail to their, parents and teachers as well. As for the business side, it's still very ambiguous since the app is, still in development.
Yeah, that makes sense. In fact, that's what happens with a lot of tech for good projects. That essentially you need to understand the first part is tech. And tech products have their own life cycle, right? You need to go to market, you need to understand how are people using your solution, and what are they willing to pay for, what are they not willing to pay for, and only then you understand how to create a business model around it. So it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes a lot of iterations, right? So that's why a lot of people in Silicon Valley, they focus a lot on going fast, failing fast, doing a lot of iterations, because if you do not do enough iterations, you will never really know what is the right solution that the market will accept. Excellent, guys. This looks like a great plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, we plan to reach many people, and the more we reach, the more we get to, like, the more they had the experience with benefits.
All right. And next, please.
Okay. Yeah,
And this is our team as of now.
and see you here.
Thank you. That picture is good.
I mean, you have been invaluable to us, especially in the camp when, it was so hectic and we weren't exactly sure what to do in just 7 days. So we really do appreciate your mentorship.
Thank
It
you.
was my pleasure and my privilege, guys. When do you think is a beta version can be expected of the app? When are you planning to do that? Is it possible this year or next quarter only? Or
since the Tech for Good global finale is in January, we want to get a beta out by then. So like January is the date that we're heading for right now as a team.
All right, then it's going to be an awesome new year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so anything else you guys would like to add about DyStory? Oh yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, like a lot of people with some, like, what do you call it, talents and some different from the other people are often diagnosed with dyslexia or autism because they're different and they create things more different. They're different. Like, difference is the main key. And when they're different from other people, they think about it differently. They just develop the ideas differently, and they are more creative than us.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. They view the world in a way which we can probably never view it that way, right? We don't have that talent at all. And what we're not doing is we're not encouraging that talent because we can't recognize it. And through your app, through DyStory, I think we will be able to recognize these multiple talents more often and nurture them rather than make those students feel out of place or not accepted, not part of the group, and so on.
I mean, naturally, uniqueness brings more uniqueness.
Yes, it does. Albert Einstein is a good example. There are multiple such examples. There's a very famous Bollywood actor who is dyslexic, and that's one of the reasons why dyslexia in India started getting accepted by a lot of people, because that actor went through it, right? And then there was a famous movie in the in 2000s. It was called Tare Zameen Par, which basically means stars on Earth. So what it referred to was all the neurodiverse students. They're all stars. They have so many beautiful talents, and they're right here on our planet. The only thing is we are not able to recognize that. So that movie.
I think I've actually watched that.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we need more of these things. Obviously, we need more popular people, celebrities, influencers to come out and talk about this. Are you in touch with any influencers or celebrities who might want to endorse your app?
Not really, but like media and social media, both like mainstream media and social media, they're, very powerful tools. Like, I do think they should focus more on problems like these.
Absolutely. I like to call that conscientious influencer. Excellent. Well, there's an idea then through our discussion so far that you should definitely reach out to a Turkish movie star or a TV star or a sports person, who might.
Nice idea. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Great. So.
And this is a QR code for to our website where all the links, Instagram, LinkedIn, and the website links are put.
All right. So this is your Linktree QR code, right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Tree was
we did have a Linktree. Linktree got banned in Turkey, so we just quickly winged up something new.
Okay. Well, please scan the QR code and to check out all the wonderful work that DyStory team is doing around this important, extremely valuable solution that we're talking about. They're going to launch a beta version in January because they're participating in this amazing global competition where teams from around the world are using technology in order to create good, in order to help the planet, help the people on the planet, and all things sustainable, right? Well, thank you so much. Let's quickly wrap up by putting all your thoughts together on our notes as well.
Okay, I want to add something. Please don't hesitate to contact us. You can direct message us. You can just email us. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. We would then what you guys need to do is you need to send me all the links separately so I can just put it in the description of the YouTube video as well later on.
All right.
Okay, excellent. So let me start sharing my screen again. This will take a few seconds. My next question is, and again, this is not trying to put you in a spot or anything, because you have been doing some research around this. Have you come across any policies by the state, by the government, which recognizes neurodiversity and is creating special, I would say, laws or rules or guidelines around this?
I personally haven't come across such a thing. I don't know if any other team members have.
There are no laws or something like that, but there are some guidelines for schools which, like, if they are diagnosed from hospitals or something, they can get tutoring for free twice a week.
Oh, excellent. So if you are...
But it's in Turkey only. I don't know about the other countries.
Yeah, I completely understand that. If you're diagnosed, then you get free tuition?
Like free tutoring, like one-to-one lessons.
Oh, okay. That's an excellent policy, I would say, that is there in place in Turkey, and this should definitely be in the other. See, every country has to learn from other countries. Some countries are doing some amazing things around certain areas. I just believe that other countries should be able to do that. In fact, in 2019, I came across this website, which was kind of endorsed by the United Nations. It is called South-South Cooperation, which basically meant that if you are in the global South and if you are doing something innovative around a problem, then the same solution can be customized and applied to other regions of the world, so the countries can learn from each other. And has anyone reached out to you from outside Turkey related to this?
Yeah, not talk about it, I think. If you want to say something.
I mean, we did speak to a bunch of experts from all around the world. We had one from America, we had one from Brazil, but I think it was us who reached out first.
Yeah, and what were their experiences? What did you learn from them? Are they facing similar things, or it's very different over there?
Well, it is more or less similar. We also got a lot of advice from them on how, like what we should keep in mind while we develop the app.
Excellent,
So on.
excellent. So it's then basically this is one of those solutions which has a global impact.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so then we don't necessarily need to stick around with national policies around this. Maybe we should just have a global curriculum around this.
I mean, I think it should be part of, human rights.
Yeah, I think so.
That's very, very important what you just said.
Because no matter the nationality, religion, race, etc., the problem and the suffering is the same. I mean, even though everyone experiences it differently, the gist of it is the same.
Yeah, true. Have you guys also come across some adults who faced learning disabilities when they were younger? They somehow managed, and how is their life now?
Yeah, I gave the example of the computer engineer woman. Like, she's in the mid-40s right now, and it was hard for her when she first started primary school. But when she discovered she was diagnosed with dyslexia, her life changed, and then she managed to get higher scores from everyone in the high school and in the university.
Wow. So that kind of made her at peace with herself. She kind of accepted who she is, and then maybe that helped her perform better in academics and everything else.
Also, programming helps people with dyslexia because the compiler just corrects you when you had a typo and just advises the coding you need to implement.
Wow.
That's true. I can vouch for that.
That is such an important insight, isn't it? Like there's a machine with infinite patience. No matter how many mistakes you make, the machine is still infinitely patient and will keep telling you in the same way that this is an error, please change it. This is an error, please change it. Yeah.
That's actually why we think the story is important too, because teachers and parents, they're human. They get to tend impatient. They tend to get impatient. Sorry, and that's why having an app who's not going to get tired of saying the same things over and over to patiently teach a child is important. That was actually a point we heard from an expert.
Wow, excellent. And I'm pretty sure that in one of the future updates, this is going to happen in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I completely agree with this. In fact, you guys have already tested out the AI counselor that we develop for career counseling and so on, right? It is infinitely patient. So a young student who is confused, who's anxious, who's not ready yet, who lacks confidence, they will keep asking the same questions again and again. Sometimes they will ask very basic questions. Sometimes they will ask questions which are completely irrelevant sometimes because they are processing a lot of information in their mind. And any human who's interacting with them, maybe a school teacher, guidance counselor, even their own parents, they will eventually lose patience, right? Whereas with a counselor, you can spend all night, keep asking questions, keep talking to it. It will not lose patience. It will still interact with you in the same empathetic manner that one should. Right. Well, I want to take a special example over here of a young student that I'm working with right now. He is in grade 6. He is on the neurodiverse spectrum. He initially struggled a lot because nobody could really understand what was not working out for him in class. So eventually, after, as Zainab mentioned, eventually when he got some tests done, his parents got some tests done, and they figured out that okay, he is a little dyslexic, and he has some other learning disabilities as well. Then that self-awareness actually, he's too young to understand what it actually meant, but all the people around him, they understood that. And just 2 days ago, the mother sent a very nice, heartwarming picture of a report card that his teacher had shared. Let me just read that out to you guys. The teacher says in her comments, "Keep up the good work. You have immense potential in you. I'm sure you will definitely make it big someday." Right? And this
That's
is a
lovely.
comment. This is a comment in a mainstream school in India. He's not part of any other school or special needs school, and the teacher does not give out these comments to other students very easily. But in his case, because he outperformed a lot of his classmates in a particular area, especially history, he's currently making videos on history. He's probably going to write a book in the future. This is what happens. So I can definitely vouch for the fact that self-awareness is very important, and then self-awareness of the people around you is very important.
Yeah, I'm relaying something we have heard from an expert during our interviews. Sometimes just empowering people with dyslexia and other learning disabilities is like all they need, the motivation to keep going forward. They need to know that they are no less than, neurotypical people, and that they can also have the opportunity, to make it places.
So rightly pointed out. In fact, last year I presented a TED talk around career decision making in Japan, and one of my fellow speakers, her name is Emily Bailey. She is from the UK, but she was working as an early childhood educator in Japan for, I think, 4 years. Recently, she has moved back to the UK. She was a fellow speaker as well. And she recently found out at the age of what, I mean, I should not say the age, right? But she recently found out within her adulthood that she is actually neurodiverse. And suddenly she told me that suddenly her confidence came back. Suddenly there were answers for so many of the questions, or so many of the things that used to happen to her. Suddenly she found answers to all of them. And she gave a brilliant TEDx talk. I'll include the link of that TEDx talk in the description as well. Please go check it out. You will probably, if you're an adult, and if you know that you're different, and you have to sometimes pretend or do other things just to fit in, all right, I think this TED talk will really, really help you come to terms with reality, and just be your confident self, so that the world can be a better place because of your creativity. All right, guys, this has been an excellent conversation so far.
Thank you.
It's
Amazing.
such inspiring of you to do that for live stream for the people.
It's always inspiring to talk about this topic, like even among ourselves, with parents, with experts. I always come out of the conversations feeling lighter.
Yeah. There is something that I keep saying to a lot of young people I interact with. I recently went as a guest faculty to a technical institution in India, and I told them very clearly, if you are somebody with privilege, that means all your needs are met. You don't have to be responsible for somebody else right now. You can choose to do what you want, all right? Because a lot of people are not privileged in the world. Then please choose to do something which makes the world better, rather than earning a lot of money working with big companies, which is also okay, which is great. I mean, I never say no to that. But then, since you have talent, since you have the resources, now is the time where we need to stand up and start making the world better. What do you guys think about that? Did you think like this before DyStory, or are you definitely thinking like this after you've started working on DyStory?
I have always think about, like, it was always important to do that, because when you initiate something, like, people are most likely to just say it's not gonna work, because when you are creating something new, you need some funding, and people usually fund their money to get some more money, not for people's good.
Yeah.
I think this story has changed my views a lot because, in essence, I, as a singular person, never thought I could, bring about something like this to life. But I found an amazing team, and I also found that I was a lot more able and, skilled than I thought.
Excellent. That sounds amazing. I'm so happy that you guys are doing this. My blessings and best wishes and congratulations to both of you and the other 4 amazing team members. Hopefully we can do another live stream in the coming days, maybe on your YouTube channel, and all the other team members can also join in, and we can have an even better discussion about this. Maybe we should
I'd love
also
that.
yeah, maybe we should invite some parents and some students who are actually on the neurodiverse spectrum.
It's a great idea. Thank you.
That'd work out great.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elif and Zainab, for joining in today and sharing your amazing passion and your amazing solution towards this humongous, big tech for good problem that we are trying to solve or address here. All of you who have watched this, we would love to have your feedback. Like Zainab and Elif asked earlier, if you have any ideas that you think can definitely benefit them, they are more than open to them. Please share your feedback. Please send your comments to us. We would love to know more about what you think and what else can we do together as conscious people, I would say, to make the world better. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Thanks for having us.